got one on the Tokyo rig. Not a big bass, but I got one. I was just sitting there holding it, letting it swim in that current, and I felt him tap it. Not a real big bass, but hey, that's my first bass on the Tokyo rig. So we'll let him go. I'm gonna throw back out across this point. I can get it rigged back up here. Really, I wasn't doing, I was just kind of sitting there letting it, there's kind of a big eddy right here where this current hits, and I'm just kind of letting it sit there. I felt him bite it. That was kind of like almost like a drop shot bite. The way I felt him tap it, move with it, and then he dropped it and he picked it back up again. Oh, there's one. And I felt him do the same thing. And I threw up there in the current, just kind of started to swim it. And I felt him bite it, but it's really, so far, not a real big bass, but hey, we got a couple bites. But on the Zoom Z-Crawl, and I've got a 5/16 ounce VMC weight here, and slid it on the wire and then took a pair of pliers and kind of rolled it over. And I'm just kind of throwing it out here in this current and letting it wash across this point. You know, of course, obviously I'm looking for little rises and falls. You know, I'm looking for rock piles and things that might come out underneath the water. A lot of times in currents, you can actually see it before you get to it. You'll see where the water's being disturbed, you know, usually on the surface. And that'll give you a clue. You know, when you see the disturbance, the actual object will be a little further upstream from where you see the disturbance on the water. But a lot of times I look for places where the bubbles are pushing into the bank. And usually that's a good sign. Wherever that pushing debris, leaves, sticks, that type of thing. As you can see right here, you can see this is all going by the boat, but I look for areas where it's pushing into the bank. That's usually a good area to make a cast where there's a dead eddy, where usually those fish will set up to ambush stuff that washes through. Actually, I'm gonna kind of kick out here a little bit. Oh, there's one right there. That's a better one right there. Oh, smallmouth, a jumper. Now see that fish there, I was just sitting there holding it in that current. Let me hit my spot lock. And that fish just kind of come up there and grabbed it. And that's the thing, when you fish below these dams, you kind of get all species of fish, largemouth, smallmouth, spotted bass. That's a nice little smallmouth here. The only thing about smallmouth is they're usually not very eager to come into the boat. As you can see, you know, I threw out there and we're just kind of sitting there holding that Tokyo rig. And caught a nice smallmouth right there. Got real red eyes. Pretty fish right there. But that's 3 bites here in just a few minutes on this point, on this Tokyo rig. So we'll release him and see if we can catch another one. You know, a lot of times when you find a good point like this with current washing across it, it pays to stay there a while because there's a reason those fish are there. And you know, they're there for an opportunity to feed. And of course, some of these fish too, I'm sure they like these bigger eddies. We got a big pocket here. And a lot of times that's where those fish live throughout the year and they spawn. They come out here to get something to eat, but we'll let him go. You know, whenever you're fishing in the river, you can go around the bank and fish spinner baits and crankbaits and you can catch fish, but a lot of times baits like this Tokyo rig, you know, you can really slow down and work these areas because, you know, if those fish aren't really necessarily active or up shallow wanting to come up to bite those crankbaits and spinner baits, this is a good way to throw it out in the current, let it drag along the rocks. You know, it's kind of a different presentation. You know, you've got that weight on the bottom and the hook up above, and it's really it's a good way to kind of give different presentations and really slow down and work an area more thorough.